Hey everyone, welcome back to 996 The Howl. Over the weekend, the Tucson Roadrunners had 2 games left in their regular season against the Colorado Eagles, and they managed to make the playoffs on their last game of the season. Saturday night, even though they are 7th in their division, 7 out of 10 teams in the Pacific Division make the playoffs. So congratulations to the Tucson Roadrunners. Bit of a disappointing season for me, but the fact they made the playoffs, that's a good positive note. Now let's see what they can do in the playoffs. This is their 3rd playoff appearance in a row. They've lost the previous 2 playoff appearances in the first round. The first season in those 3 years was against Coachella Valley, which they lost to. Last year, they lost to the Calgary Wranglers. Tucson was 2nd place in the division last year, and they still lost in the first round. And they loaded up for that playoff push. They had Geeky there, Doan, Gunther, Kesselring, and they still lost both games. It's a best out of 3 series in the first round. So it's whoever wins 2 first advances. The Roadrunners will face the Abbotsford Canucks in the first round, which is obviously the Vancouver Canucks farm team. I think the Canucks team, obviously I don't watch the American Hockey League, but their strength is more a defensive structure and good goaltending. They got that Slivos guy who had a great playoff appearance in the NHL last year, and he's been bouncing back between the American Hockey League and NHL this past season. So maybe the Roadrunners could squeak a victory as being the underdog. They are the 7th place team, so obviously they are the most underdog team in their division. They finished the season 34, 32, and 6, just barely above 500 point percentage. Their goals for per game. I was always worried about who was going to score on this team. I still am, but they managed to score above 3 goals per game, which is great, which is what I want Utah to do. They're 5th in their division in goals per game at 3.17. Goals against per game, it's still high, and they're 7th in their division at 3.29 goals against per game. Power play, even though it's in green, it's 4th in the division, so not bad. You want that to be over 20%. And PK, even though it was 81%, which is great in the NHL, it's only 6th place in their division for their PK. For goaltenders, Villalta, a bit of an up and down season for him, a disappointing season for him. It's his lowest goalie numbers in the past 3 seasons, and the first time in his American Hockey League career, 6 seasons, where his losses are more than his wins. Even though his save percentage is all right, it's pretty good at .905. Goals against average at .303. Their backup, Jackson Stauber, we saw both of these guys with Utah. Villalta gained his first ever NHL win near the end of the season with Utah. Stauber was 12-7-3, so better win-loss record, but slightly worse goalie numbers. And Dylan Wells, just a random, East Coast Hockey League, ECHL quality goalie. He's there just in case Utah pulls one of these guys up. He was 3-3-1. And Connor Ingram played 1 game for the Roadrunners right before he came back from his first leave of absence in December. He won that game and had a .967 save percentage for Connor Ingram. The last 10 games, Roadrunners not playing their best are 4-5-1. The Abbotsford Canucks in their last 10 are 8-1-1. So definitely one of the hottest teams in the division is the Canucks. But during the season, Roadrunners had some moderate success against Abbotsford, going 5-3-0. Then we go to the players. For me, Villalta, he could be an X factor for the Roadrunners. He's always a great goalie. Obviously, I already said this year, slightly lower numbers, but he did get that first NHL win. Maybe that brings him some confidence into the playoffs. Then we go to the players, and they're led by all American Hockey League veterans. They're not led by Utah Hockey Club prospects, which is unfortunate to me and disappointing for me. Their highest prospect in terms of points is McCartney. I forgot to star them in this video, but McCartney, Doan, Lipkin, Lutz, Matika are your forward prospects for Utah. Everyone else is like an American Hockey League veteran. And then on the defensive side of things, they want to concentrate on Zuber, Duda, and Lamoureux. Obviously, we all know about Lamoureux, but the forward group, it's led by Yamamoto, which we've seen play a lot of games for Utah to start this season and to end this season. He finished with above points per game at 56 points in 54 games played. He was 22nd in the league in terms of points, even though he missed 18 games played. The threshold for games played in the AHL is 72, whereas in the NHL it's 82. And then Cameron Hebig led the team in goals, 26 goals. He had 47 points in 67 games played. And then Sokolov, a player which we traded Jan Unique for in the offseason with the Senators farm team. He did a pretty good job being third on the team in points, 44 points in 72 games played. Agazino, he was injured for about 15, 17 games. He's back from injury, so maybe he could add some spark to the lineup as well. He had 43 points in 55 games played. The Abbotsford Canucks, their leading scorer, has 43 points. So Roadrunners, in fact, score more than the Abbotsford Canucks, or they have more players who could score. They have 4 players at the 43-point mark or higher. So that's 4 players. One of them's tied with the Abbotsford Canuck point leader, but 3 players the Roadrunners have that eclipse that 43-point mark for the Canucks. We'll get to the prospects. McCartney, finally healthy. This is the most American Hockey League games he's played. He's been down there for like 3 seasons now. So it's great that he wasn't too injured this season, even though he missed 9 games, 33 points in 63 games played. Sammy Walker, they acquired him mid-season from the Minnesota Wild farm team. In Minnesota, he had 11 points in 30 games. For the Roadrunners, he had 22 points in 31 games. So he doubled his point totals when he moved to Tucson. So a great story there. Josh Doan, I was surprised that they didn't send Doan down for the playoffs. They only sent down Yamamoto and Vielta. So maybe Doan, that's a signal that he's made the NHL. He shouldn't be heading back down. They love what he did on that third line with Krause and McBain. But even though, like, Doan lives in Arizona, his family, his house is in Arizona. So I don't know. I thought to better their chances, maybe bring Doan back down for another playoff push. He's in Arizona regardless. Or maybe they're still, they haven't really decided what Utah players are all going to the World Championships. I know Keller and Kesselring are confirmed. Maybe Josh Doan wants to go to the World Championships instead. That could be a decision as well. But 26 points in 28 games for Doan. He did a great job going down there after being sent down after about, 5 or 10 games to start the season with Utah. And then he got called up later in the season and never looked back. And he looked like he belonged in the NHL. So, that's sometimes what's going to happen. Maybe you think you're going to make the team out of training camp, but you need a little bit more bake in the AHL, so you go down for about 30 games, and then you get called up when there's an opportunity, and then you make sure the team cannot send you back. You're too good to send back down. Sam Lipkin, he was a point per game in both of his college seasons. This is his first American Hockey League season. 15 points in 56 games played, 10 goals. Disappointing for me as well, but he is a 7th round pick, so he gets a pass there. He doesn't have that high draft pedigree compared to Julian Lutz, who has 13 points in 47 games played, 2nd round pick, first American Hockey League season. Really disappointing for me. He's a 2nd round pick, like I said, so he has higher draft pedigree. Matika, he was sent down. He underperformed with the Roadrunners in his first American Hockey League season. He got sent down to the ECHL, the Allen Americans. He just got called back up about, right before their 2 games to end the season, along with Noel Nord and Owen Allard from the Ontario Hockey League, the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. So Matika, Allard, and Nord, they got called up from their junior teams, and now they're available to be played for the playoffs for the Tucson Roadrunners. Then we go to the defense, led by an American Hockey League veteran in Russo, 34 points, 72 games played. Great to see Zuber here with a lot of good points, 32 points in 65 games played. He's not necessarily an offensive D-man. He's one of those towering, tall, huge defensemen. He's more of a stay-at-home defenseman, but to see him grab some points and some goals, that's always great to see from a big, stout, physical defensive defenseman. Duda, a good year as well, 29 points, 70 games played. He's more on the offensive side, good skater, good puck-moving player. So it should be interesting to see and watch. I'll be watching these two games. Hopefully it's Wednesday night and Thursday night this week. They're West Coast games because they're playing in Abbotsford, which is most likely in British Columbia, I'm pretty sure. So those are around 7 p.m. on the West Coast. So if you're on the East Coast, it's a 10 p.m. game start to watch live. Then you got Kevin Connaughton, an NHL veteran. Now he's an American Hockey League player. Never played a game for Utah, but he was called up here and there. Just never dressed for the team. He was a previous Coyotes player as well. And Lamoureux, wondering what happened with him. I expected more out of him, considering he had great NHL experience to start the year when all the defense for Utah got injured. He seems like he has better NHL numbers than American Hockey League numbers, with only 13 points in 42 games played. It's the playoffs. It's best out of 3, so first team to win 2 games. They could steal this one. They could just galvanize themselves. They had a pretty rough season, obviously, but no more players are being called up to Utah. This is your team. Try to put the best team on the ice. Maybe some sneaky guys in Matika, Nord, and Allard. Maybe they got some juice, getting some confidence in their junior leagues. Maybe you could play them, or maybe they just heavily rely on veterans in like these top 5 players. And hopefully the Roadrunners win. I don't expect them to win against Abbotsford, considering the Canucks, they're 8-1-1 heading into the playoffs. When you're a hot team heading into the playoffs, that's a good recipe for success. But maybe they win their first playoff round in 3 seasons, the Roadrunners do. And then we'll see from there. They beat the best team in the Pacific Division, the Colorado Eagles, to clinch. And it was a pretty decisive victory, I think 7-3. So maybe they have some confidence from that. Vialta played in that game, again, riding that high and confidence from his first NHL win. So let's see what happens. Maybe they can do some damage here and go on a run. That'll be good to instill some playoff competitiveness in the organization, a winning culture, which is why I'm pretty disappointed in this team and underwhelmed. I want that winning culture to be cultivated in the minor leagues. Last year was great, finished second in your division. They pretty much took a step back this season, which you don't want to see while you're progressing through a rebuild. So hopefully if they do win or lose in the offseason, they bolster this Roadrunners roster with some maybe more American Hockey League guys or some prospects from Utah. You know, Simishev and Boot, maybe they could be injected into the lineup next season. There's a couple other guys, Lavoie, Goldsmith, maybe Kipke. So we'll see how this team evolves in the offseason heading into next season. So that's it for me. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, spread the word. And as always, thank you for your support.